So hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we'll be listening over to our the causes of war. So introduction comes to be the war community and everything, the main reason for the cause. In my next previous video we discussed the decline of the Mughal Empire, and now what was the main reason why it declined. So war हुई थी, तो war में मुगल एम्पायर भी डिक्लाइन हो गया था. सबसे पहले war began at the 10th May 1857. It was fought between Indians and British, and this event is also known as Great Indian Rebellion, the Revolt of 1857, a lot of things. And the most famous, the War of Independence, the Indian Mutiny, and this war started from the Meerut to all over the Indian region, and this ended at August 1858. So like it went from 1 year, at least 1 year and 3-4 months, right? Then we had some policies, the reasons. Okay, so now we'll focus on some reasons. First reason, we had like agrarian policy. It was a policy made in 1852 by British. It was by Lord Dalhousie. He was a British governor, general governor from, he came here, and it was a British policy. Under this policy, they told us that they told that if the landowner do not have the documents of the land will be confiscated by the British, which means it will come under the British. ठीक है, तो land will come under the British. So the British will check the validity of the document, and if someone who cannot show the documents, it will be the land will be confiscated by the British. Many of the landowners were deprived of their land, ठीक है, because they failed to improve the light validation of their documentary popularity of the property of their land. After that, we have doctrine of lapse. It was in 1852. It is land alienation policy, in which the policy tells us that if the landowner, or you can say the landlord, dies, okay, so there's a landlord, and if he dies, and if there is no male hire in the to be in charge after that landlord, so the land will be confiscated by the British. And adoption of a male hire was also not allowed, and like due to this law, many of the states like Jhansi, Satpura, Nagpur all fell under the British control, right? After that, we have industrial revolution. I told in my last video that the industrial revolution was taking place in England. तो कुछ revolution हो रही थी industries की हमारे पास कहाँ पर, in the England. For making an industry, we need a great market and raw material. तो वो सारा इंडिया से ले रहा था वो. So British officer took raw material from India to England, and that product was sold in India at cheaper prices. So the local industry suffered in in the India, because जो products जो थे वो cheaper थे, efficient थे than local products. So जो selling, जो local people वहाँ पे इंडिया के जो less selling हुई, जो local products हमारे होते थे, तो उस वजह से employment rate जो है वो भी decrease हो गया. Then we had a language issue. Two language issues was like 1834 के अंदर English was made the national language, replacing the native language, which was Persian for Muslims and Sanskrit for Hindus. After the 1835, the British introduced English Education Act, which means that schools and colleges will use English as the way of communication. And under this act, English was introduced in education. Western curriculum was introduced into the colleges, with English in colleges. English actually became the main language of the administration and the higher law courts. These were like some of the language issues. Then we had some religious issues. क्या थे हमारे पास? उसके बाद British thought that the culture, अब British used to always think themselves as a culture and the Indians as an inferior race. उसके बाद जो Christian missionaries आए थे, like there were some Christian people who came to India, they came to India like with full power. What they did, they came India, they set up schools. In those schools they taught Bible, they taught English, they taught Western ideas to the local population, and they went to the markets where local population were, and they forcefully converted them into the Christianity and told them to do that. So ठीक है, in the schools missionary taught Christianity and expected local regions, ठीक है, to do that, to get these, and which actually resented, जिसको through that the Muslims, Hindus, Sikh, Marathas, everyone was resented by this. There were also अब religious issue like parda was also banned, which means parda was like Muslim custom where hijab and everything was done to cover the body, but that was also banned during these regions. So this actually hit on the Muslim custom. In 1795, the killing of baby was considered as a murder, but in some places of India, it was still a tradition to be practiced. So it completely, banned. Sati was also banned. It was first banned by Aurangzeb, but they, it was banned for in Bengal. There were some kind of places in states that this used to be performed, so they banned it completely. Although British did a lot of good things also, but फिर भी देखो अगर सुत्ती बैन किया, this was a good thing, but क्योंकि ये हिंदू कस्टम था and Hindus used to do this till their like forefathers used to do those, like इनको लगता है एक tradition and they must do that. So this is actually something that angered them and this is something that offended them, right? Widows were allowed to remarry. Co-education was co-education में यहाँ पे लड़कियाँ और लड़के साथ पढ़ता है. Co-education is actually में forbidden in Islam. So it actually started, which actually resented Muslims a lot. It also says that कि जो Christians थे, ठीक है, it also says कि जो if Indian people wanted to work in the army, they need to convert their religion to Christianity. So this was like a lot of zulm on us. Then there was a lot of education reforms too which came up, like Macaulay. He was someone government journal. He introduced some new schools. He set up a lot of new schools where they taught about the Western ideas. He always used to believe that British ideas were far more better than anything that Indian custom or Indian thing could be, and which actually helped British a lot to take control over the India more effectively. Indians, what they had to send their children into these schools and where co-education used to perform. Since it appeared, they used to do like it's fine, but it appeared like a British is imposing these activities, it's imposing this all education on the Indians, without regardless to thinking about religion, the culture, feelings and anything, right? After that, posting of soldiers too far, which means the British starting posting of the Indian soldiers too far, or out of the country, or country borders, पर ताकि they could, and this actually states or this indicates directly to that British wanted कि it could take control more, ठीक है, ज़्यादा कंट्रोल ले लेता तो उससे जैसे कि इंडियन अगर कंट्री से थोड़े बाहर चले जाते तो ईजिली वो कंट्रोल कर सकता था. Then we have westernization. British westernized the India. He actually interfered in communication, railways, a lot of things which actually offended Indians. He interfered in hospitals, in education, in social reforms, services, and everything, which actually offended Indians, Muslims a lot. Okay, then. So this is like the main reason Greece Carthages, which I will discuss in my next video, and the further clarities and why the war failed. So keep it there guys and we'll discuss.